Hello lads, and welcome to Britain's finest sunny day with the Abarth 124 Spider. And whilst Abarth UK have been generous enough to give me the keys for the week, I thought it would be a good time to take the opportunity to make a how to drive a rear-wheel drive car video. So a lot of people have asked me, what is the difference in driving style between driving a normal front-wheel drive hatchback that you might get as a first car to moving to something more exciting, classic sports car style, rear-driven, maybe a bigger BMW or something like that. What is the difference? Do you have to change your driving style? Well, let's chat about that in this video, so come with me and let's find out. First thing I'd like to mention is driving a rear-wheel drive car doesn't need to be intimidating. You shouldn't be put off buying one just because of all the scary stories you've heard of people saying, like, in the rain, it's, you know, you're going to spin immediately the first corner you drive into. On the motorway, it's more unstable, that sort of thing. Rear-wheel drive cars, if you enjoy driving, really are one of the best experiences you can have. And I love my front-wheel drive hot hatches, I love my front-wheel drive cars, but there is something special about the feeling of mid-corner, and the car wants to rotate around an axis and it wants to move around, it wants to play a little bit more. That really is awesome. So don't let scary stories put you off buying a rear-wheel drive car. So we'll go over some basic things before we start driving as well, and some basic car maintenance, car care things that especially come up in a rear-wheel drive. So whenever you're driving a rear-wheel drive, it's a good idea to keep an eye on your tread depth, especially if your country rains a lot. It's dangerous to drive with bald tyres anyway, or extremely low tread depth, but in a rear-wheel drive, especially in the wet, aquaplaning, oversteering mid-corner is a little bit more apparent, and it's going to be something that will come up, and if you're not expecting it, it's going to be scary and probably a little bit dangerous. So make sure you've got good tyres on your car, make sure you've got above the minimum of 1.6 mil, all round, rears especially. Fronts too though, don't neglect your fronts because it's all about control, and in the wet, if you've got bald front tyres and you're going to understeer, then probably oversteer, so keep an eye on all four sets. So let's get driving and we'll chat about some more things whilst we're on the road. The thing is with rear-wheel drive cars is they don't all handle the same, so not every rear-wheel drive car is going to be an oversteer drifting monster, and not every front-wheel drive car is going to be an extremely understeery, boring old hatchback. You know, the stereotypes exist, but they're not as commonplace as you think. So the car I'm in right now is an Abarth 124. It's an Abarth 124 Spider. Weight distribution is pretty 50-50, so it wants to rotate around the center point. And because of that, you'll feel it want to understeer, oversteer, and the line between the two is quite narrow. So if I'm turning into a corner, you want to be progressive and smooth with all your inputs, and that's number one. So progression is your friend when it comes to rear-wheel drive cars. It's your key when it comes to any car, really. So when you're in the middle of a corner, no dramatic sharp inputs, because that is going to be what's going to send your car into a slide, and probably put you in a hedge more than anything, is being over the top with your inputs. And that works with throttle as well. When you're in the middle of a corner, what you want to be doing is coming on the throttle gradually, okay? So stabbing the throttle with a lot of lock on is what gets you into a slide, and can be used to drift, to slide if you really want to. So don't force it to do anything unnatural. As soon as you turn in and really stab the throttle, you see it wants to rotate on you, which is good fun, and if you really are a driver, then you're probably going to enjoy that. Cruising along naturally though, and this is for people who maybe are newer to driving, a rear-wheel drive car doesn't feel any different to your normal front-wheel drive hatchback that you might be used to. It's really when you're stepping on it and you're pushing on mid-corner, getting to the edges of grip, that you're going to notice a difference. So, a key thing to driving a rear-wheel drive car, and something you'll have to pay a bit more attention to, are downshifts. If you've got a DSG or an automatic box in your car, then it will do rev matching for you. But if you're in a manual, ignoring, say, the 370Z Nismo that downshifts and rev matches for you, a car like this won't be as forgiving if you're a bit rough with your downshift. What I mean by that is, if say you go from fourth to third gear and you just let the clutch out very quickly and sharply, your engine's going to have to speed up to your road speed. That'll feel kind of lurchy in a front-wheel drive car. In a rear-wheel drive car, because your rear wheels are getting locked up practically, they're being forced to slow down. If you do that aggressively enough, you actually might find that the car wants to spin. It wants to lock up and rotate. And if you're doing that mid-corner, so you're turning aggressively left, and then you go fourth to third aggressively, you might find that the car spins. Which in normal everyday driving on tight roads with cars coming the other way is not a good idea. To prevent this, you use rev matching on the downshift. Heel toe is basically rev matching with braking. You have some braking input, clutch in, down a gear, add a little bit of a throttle with the side of your foot or your heel, and you carry on your way. And if you've got a nice exhaust on the car like this does, sounds good as well. So for example, when I'm on the brake and I want to downshift, I can just move my foot across and give it a little tap. Sometimes what I do is I just use the side of my foot. The thing is, heel and toe is not just a skill that's limited to rear-wheel drive cars. It's good for anything that's a manual. Front-wheel drive cars, it stops and gets rid of that lurchy forward motion you get whenever you're downshifting and you're coming up to a roundabout. You don't have to give your passengers whiplash every single time, especially if you're driving a little bit quicker. I think that's what we'll chat about as well, is whenever the car starts to slide, the main thing that goes wrong. If you're mid-corner, so you turn the car in, you stamp on the throttle, the car starts to slide, and as you correct with steering, you immediately snap the throttle off because you get a bit scared or you just react. Snapping the throttle off means the car is going to grip up in the direction you're pointing, right? What that is you are now pointing the car somewhere over into a hedge because you've got loads of opposite lock-on and you've given the car permission to grip up again by lifting the throttle off. So that's always the best thing anyway, is take a little bit of time with the car, progressively work your way up. Don't go full into doing slides and thinking you're sideways Sid, shout out, good channel. Driving in the rain really shouldn't be something that puts you off a rear-wheel drive car either. The only thing that happens is that the rain accentuates the rear-wheel drive car's traits, and what that means is that your grip levels are going to come down. So the car will slide easier, but as will a front-wheel drive car want to understeer easier. And in fact, controllable oversteer is nicer and more fun than uncontrollable understeer. It's something you can get yourself out of probably more easily. And I think that's the misconception a lot of people have. It's like they think a front-wheel drive car is more safe because it understeers. But if you're losing grip anyway, sometimes it's better to have it in a controllable situation like oversteer than in a lot of front-wheel drive understeer situations where the only thing you can do is back off the throttle and wait, maybe take some lock off. Don't let that make you think that a rear-wheel drive car's not going to understeer though, because it will. If you push into a corner too fast, you're going to push on just as you would in a front-wheel drive car, and sometimes more so, because the front can get lighter and it's got less weight over it too. And in something like a Porsche, which is rear engine rear-wheel drive, that could be quite apparent. So, thank you everyone for watching the video today. If you enjoyed, drop a like for me, please. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more from me. I appreciate you. My name has been Alex, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Inside